Hey, and welcome to English Coffee House. I'm Daria.
And I'm Chris. We're really happy you're here with us.
Get comfortable.
And let's start with today's conversation.
I noticed something the other day. I was looking for a place to have dinner, and I spent more time reading comments than actually choosing where to go.
That happens to me too. Sometimes I open one review just to check the rating, and then suddenly I'm 20 minutes deep into people arguing about pasta.
Exactly. And after a while, I don't even know what I think anymore. One person says, best food I've had in years, and the next says, absolutely terrible, never again.
It's strange how fast confidence disappears. At first you think reviews will make the decision easier, but sometimes they do the opposite.
I think part of the problem is that people write when they feel something strongly. Very happy, very angry, very disappointed. The quiet middle doesn't always speak.
Yeah, the people who thought, it was fine, I had a normal evening, usually go home and continue with their lives.
Which is fair, honestly.
It is, but it creates this dramatic picture, like every cafe is either life-changing or a complete disaster.
And most places are just okay. Good coffee, maybe slightly uncomfortable chairs, friendly staff, music a little too loud.
That sounds very real.
I know. I trust that kind of experience more now. When someone writes in a very balanced way, I pay attention.
Same. I like reviews that include small details without sounding emotional. Not cold, just grounded. Something like, the room was clean, but the walls were thin, or the service was slow, but the waiter was kind.
Yes, that feels human, not like a performance.
Some reviews really do feel like performances now, almost written for other readers instead of written to describe what happened.
Or written to punish.
Definitely. And sometimes to show how clever the reviewer is.
Not to. There's this tone people use online where everything becomes sharper than it needs to be. A bad sandwich becomes a personal betrayal.
I laughed, but it's true. The language can be so intense, disgusting, unacceptable, traumatic. And you read it thinking, was it really that serious?
Sometimes, maybe yes, but not always. And when every small disappointment gets described like a major event, it becomes harder to tell when something is genuinely wrong.
I've had that experience with hotels. I read terrible comments before a trip, arrived prepared for the worst, and then the place was completely normal.
What were the complaints?
One person said the room was tiny. It was small, but it was in the center of an old city, so that felt expected. Another person complained that the building had no modern atmosphere.
In an old city?
Exactly. I was like, that may actually be part of the charm.
It depends so much on expectations. Two people can stand in the same room and walk away with completely different stories.
That's why I've started reading reviews almost like personal diaries rather than facts.
I like that.
Because they tell me as much about the writer as about the place. If someone keeps mentioning luxuries, speed, convenience, and perfection, I already know they probably look for something different from what I look for.
That's such a good point. I do that too, maybe without realizing it. I'm not only reading the review, I'm also trying to read the person behind it.
Yes, their rhythm, their priorities, what annoys them, what they notice.
And what they ignore. Some people never mention how a place feels. They only talk about efficiency. Others barely care about practical things, but they'll describe the light in the room and the mood of the staff.
I probably belong more to the second group.
I was going to say that.
Thank you for saying it gently.
I'm here for gentle honesty.
I appreciate that. But it's true. If I'm reading about a bookstore or a cafe, I want to know if it feels calm. I don't care that much if the chair design is a bit old.
I care if the chair hurts my back after 20 minutes.
See, that's useful. We need both kinds of people in the world.
We do. And that's maybe why reviews can still help, but only if you read them in a softer way, not as a final truth.
More like clues.
Yes, little clues.
I also look for patterns now instead of single comments. If one person says the service was rude, I'm not too worried. If 15 people say the same thing over 6 months, then I notice.
Same. Repetition matters more than drama.
That should be printed somewhere.
Quietly printed in small letters.
On a calm beige background.
Very on brand for us.
Very much.
Another thing that makes me hesitate is when the reviews are almost too perfect. All 5 stars, all short, all saying nearly the same thing.
Yes, that strange wall of positivity. Amazing service, amazing food, amazing atmosphere, amazing staff. After the fourth amazing, I start to feel suspicious.
It stops sounding real. Real people usually have at least one slightly specific thought.
Or one tiny complaint. Even when we love something, there's usually a detail that reminds us it's still part of ordinary life.
Exactly. Maybe the food was great, but the table was sticky. Maybe the hotel was lovely, but the pillows were weird.
Why are hotel pillows so often strange?
That is a bigger conversation.
Much bigger.
But yes, when there's no texture in the review, I lose interest. I trust imperfection more than polished praise.
Me too. And I trust older reviews less than I used to.
Because things change?
Yeah, new manager, new chef, tired staff, rising prices, lower quality. A place can be wonderful one year and disappointing the next.
That's true. Online comments can freeze a place in time, but real places keep moving.
And people forget that. They read something from 2 years ago as if it happened yesterday.
I've done that.
I think everyone has.
Especially when you want a quick answer. You don't always check the date carefully. You just want someone else to reduce the uncertainty for you.
That's probably the deeper reason we read them so much. It's not only about information, it's also about reassurance.
Yes, we want to feel safe before we choose. Safe before we spend money, safe before we commit to a place, even for one evening.
And safe from regret.
That too, because if the experience goes badly, we want to feel that we did our research.
There's something comforting in saying, well, I checked.
Even if checking didn't really help.
Even then.
I wonder if this affects the way we experience things once we arrive. Like, if I've read 10 reviews before going somewhere, am I still having my own experience?
That's such a good question. I think sometimes we arrive already looking for evidence. The dirty corner someone mentioned, the rude tone at the counter, the incredible dessert everyone praised.
So we stop noticing naturally.
Right. We start comparing reality to a script someone else wrote.
And if the script is strong enough, maybe it shapes the memory too.
I think it does. There have been times when I've left a place feeling mostly neutral, then read more comments later and slowly my opinion started shifting.
Really?
Yeah, not in a dramatic way, but enough to notice. It made me uncomfortable, actually, like my experience had become too open to outside influence.
I understand that. It's easy to think our opinions are solid, but they're often more delicate than we admit.
Especially in areas where taste is involved, food, travel, books, films. We want to believe we know what we think, but other voices get in very quickly.
That's why I sometimes avoid reviews completely for films. I'd rather watch first than read later.
Same. Otherwise, I'm listening to cleverness instead of listening to myself.
That's such a nice way to put it.
I know what I mean, though. It sounds a bit serious.
No, I like it. It's true. Sometimes other opinions arrive too early and then your own reaction becomes shy.
Yes, shy. That's exactly it.
I've had that with books too. If I hear too many strong opinions before reading, I almost can't find a quiet space inside of my own mind.
And then you're not meeting the book directly. You're meeting everyone else's version first.
Which can be a little sad.
It can, though sometimes reviews do save me from bad choices. I don't want to pretend they're useless.
No, not at all. I've avoided some genuinely disappointing places because people warned about things that clearly mattered.
Like what?
Once I was about to book an apartment for a weekend trip, and several people mentioned that it was next to a nightclub. Not just a lively street, an actual nightclub. That felt important.
Very important. Unless your dream holiday is sleeping between bass sounds.
Which surprisingly is not my dream.
That's brave of you to admit.
Thank you. I live honestly.
I respect it.
But yes, in that case, the reviews were useful because they were concrete. They weren't just emotional reactions. They described something practical that I can imagine clearly.
I think that's the difference. Useful reviews give shape to reality. Unhelpful ones just throw emotion at you.
Nicely said.
I've also learned that photos tell me almost as much as comments sometimes. Not the official photos, obviously.
No, never the official photos. Those were taken during a moment of deep hope.
Exactly. I want the awkward guest photo taken under terrible lighting. That's where the truth lives.
The truth is often slightly dark and taken from a strange angle.
Yes, and there's always one photo of a hallway for no clear reason.
I love those. No caption and no context, just corridors.
Somehow very reassuring.
Weirdly, yes, because nobody is trying too hard. It feels accidental, and accidents can be trustworthy.
That's interesting, isn't it? We've reached a point where polished content creates doubt and imperfect content creates comfort.
Maybe because imperfection suggests less control, less strategy.
Less selling.
Yes, and maybe we're tired of being sold things all the time.
I think we are. Even when nobody's technically selling, the whole internet can feel like one long persuasion attempt.
That's true. Ratings, comments, recommendations, sponsored posts, hidden ads, people building little personal brands without saying so.
It all blends together after a while.
And then trust becomes very expensive.
That's a strong sentence.
I just came out before I had time to soften it.
No, keep it. I think it's right.
That just means when everything asked for belief becomes harder to give.
Yes, and maybe we become a little tired, a little cautious. Not cynical exactly, but slower.
Slower is good though.
I think so too.
I've noticed that when I choose more slowly, I usually rely less on ratings and more on whether something feels right for me. Not perfect, just right enough.
That sounds peaceful.
It is, actually. Not every decision needs a full investigation.
That's something I'm still learning. Sometimes I research so much that I lose the simple pleasure of discovering a place on my own.
Do you think that comes from wanting control?
Probably, and maybe from not wanting to waste time or money, but there's a point where too much caution becomes its own kind of waste.
Because it stills the spontaneity.
Exactly, and sometimes the surprise is the whole point. A small cafe with average ratings might end up giving you one really lovely hour.
Yes, because life doesn't always arrive with a score beside it.
I like that.
It's true, though. Some of my favorite places weren't highly rated. They just met me at the right moment.
That matters so much. Mood, weather, who you were with, what kind of day you had before you arrived.
Even your hunger level.
Very important. A tired, hungry person should not be trusted to write a calm review.
Honestly, no.
That should be declared at the top. This review was written by someone who had not eaten since noon.
This review was written by someone who had walked uphill for 20 minutes.
In shoes chosen for beauty rather than function.
That's a review I would trust.
Completely.
Because it tells the whole emotional situation.
Which brings us back to something interesting. Reviews feel objective on the surface, but they're deeply personal underneath.
Yes, they often sound like judgments about places, but they're also small snapshots of people's moods, standards, disappointments, hopes.
And maybe that's why I still read them. Not because they give me certainty, but because they remind me that every experience is partial.
That's a very calm way to see it.
I'm trying.
I think I'm similar now. I don't read comments expecting the truth. I read them expecting fragments.
Fragment is a beautiful word for it.
And then I try to leave space for my own fragment, too.
I like that very much.
There's something nicer in that approach. Less pressure to get every choice exactly right.
And more room for being pleasantly surprised.
Or mildly disappointed, which is also survivable.
Very survivable. Most things in life are not amazing or awful. They're just moments we pass through.
Some softer than others.
Yes, and maybe that's enough sometimes, just to arrive somewhere, look around, and decide quietly for yourself what it is.
I mean, that's what I've landed with it too. Reading a little, noticing a few patterns, and then letting the rest be part of the experience.
Yeah, not trying to remove every risk from the simple choice.
Because sometimes a place is just a place, and that's enough.
And sometimes it becomes memorable for reasons no review could predict.
The conversation you have there, the mood you're in, the timing.
The strange little details that only matter to you.
I like that. It makes things feel a bit more open again.
Less like a test you have to pass, and more like a moment you step into.
That sounds much nicer, honestly.
It does.
Thanks for spending this time with us.
We really enjoyed having you here and sharing this conversation.
Keep listening
And we'll see you soon.
here at English Coffee House.